Gurubhyo Namaha. Warm greetings, my dear children. In the previous session, I have explained few important concepts like molar conductivity, limiting molar conductivity, Coriolis law, and electrolysis, followed by Faraday's laws. My dear children, practice numerical as well from these topics, which will be very important for your board point of view. I am sure you must have understood all the concepts and prepared formula sheet as well as clear notes on this topic. Okay, so in today's session, let me explain about few important theory based concept. What is it? Theory based concept like batteries and its type, fuel cells with a few example, and the last concept on this chapter is corrosion. From these concepts, reactions carry over and explanation about construction part of the topic can be asked as a question in the board. Let me start with battery. How to define battery? A battery is a storage device used for the storage of chemical energy and for the transformation of chemical energy into electrical energy. Okay, now what is the input here? Chemical energy, and output is electrical energy. Okay, let me repeat. A battery is a storage device used for the storage of chemical energy and for the transformation of chemical energy into electrical energy. Okay, so battery consists of groups of two or more electric cell connected together electrically in a series. You know how to connect it in a series. Already we have discussed this particular point in the cell series. Okay, so battery acts as a portable source of electrical energy. Okay, so children, energy produced by an electrochemical cell is not suitable for commercial purpose. Remember, it is not suitable for commercial purpose since they use a salt bridge which produce internal resistance which results in a drop in the voltage. Okay, so when you say drop in the voltage, that is negligible only for a small interval of time. It is negligible only for small interval of time during which it is being used. Okay, so batteries are three types. Have you understood the definition? Okay, now batteries are considerably three types, namely primary batteries, or it can be called as primary cells. The second one is secondary battery or secondary cell. Third one is fuel cell or flow batteries. Sure, you must have understood the definition for the battery. Now let me explain the types of battery. So under that, the first one is primary battery or primary cell. So primary cells are those cells in which the chemical reaction occurs only once. Note down keyword, and the cell becomes dead after some time. So second keyword is it cannot be used again. Note down this point. These batteries are used as a source of DC power. Okay, now what are all the examples? The first one is dry cell and mercury cell, lithium cell. Okay, now requirements of primary cell. So note down all the points one by one. So it must be convenient to use. Cost of discharge should be low. Standby power is desirable. Am I clear about it? These are all the main requirements of primary cell. Okay. So now let me explain about the dry cell and its construction part of it. On the right hand side you could see the construction part of the cell. It consists of a cylindrical zinc container that acts as an anode. Okay, the first point is it consists of a cylindrical zinc container that acts as an anode. Okay, now a graphite rod placed in the center. You could make out the grey color one. A graphite rod placed in the center but not touching the base. Please see the diagram clearly. Act as a cathode, which is not touching the bottom. The space between anode and cathode is packed with the paste of ammonium chloride and zinc chloride, and the graphite rod is surrounded by powered MnO2, that is manganese oxide, and cathode as and carbon as shown in the figure. Okay, so now the cell is called dry cell. What is the reason? Because of the absence of any liquid phase. Note down this point, because of the absence of any liquid phase. Even the electrolyte consists of ammonium chloride, zinc oxide and MnO2, to which starch is added to make a thick paste which prevents leakage. Okay, so now what are all the chemical we are using? Ammonium chloride, zinc chloride and MnO2. Okay, I hope you are noting down simultaneously. So the graphite rod is fitted with a metal cap and the cylinder is sealed at the top with the pitch. Am I clear, children? The reaction what we are going to discuss, which carry over in the dry cell, is a very important point for your board examination. Now the zinc MnO2 dry cell is represented as, you know how to represent, zinc converted into Zn2 plus NH4 plus slash MnO2 slash C. Okay, now the EMF is 1.5 volt. Now using this complete representation, we can write it down few points. What is that? What reaction carry over at anode? That is oxidation. We know that Zn is converted into Zn2 plus by releasing 2 electron. Same way at cathode, that is reduction reaction will carry over. MnO2 reacting with the water and observing those 2 electron donated by Zn converted into Mn2O3 and OH minus is released. So now the net cell reaction is Zn, that is zinc, reacting with MnO2 plus H2O to gives Zn2 plus Mn2O3 plus OH minus. Please remember, here Zn is converted into Zn2 plus, whereas the neutral MnO2 is converted into Mn2O3. So naturally the oxidation number of manganese varies. Now the resulting OH minus ions reacts with ammonium chloride to produce ammonia. Important, note it down. So the OH minus produced by the reaction reacting with ammonium chloride to produce ammonia, which is not liberated as gas but immediately combines with the Zn2 plus and the Cl minus ion, that is from ZnCl, to form complex salt. You could see the complex salt there. Okay, that is called as diamine dichlorozinc. Okay, now what will be the reaction? Ammonium chloride reacts with OH minus to produce ammonia gas plus Cl minus plus 2H2O. Here the first one is Zn2 plus plus NH3 and Cl minus combines and forms a complex compound. Okay, have you understood? This is a very important part. 2 mark question they may ask you. Okay, now we have to understand the next part of it for 1 mark question, that is advantage of this dry cell. These cells have voltage ranging from 1.25 volt to 1.50 volt. Okay, so primary cells are used in the torches, audios, transistors and for the hearing aids, pacemakers and watches, etc. Okay, this is a common point. And when you compare the price, it is very low. But there is a disadvantage. These cells does not have a long life because the acidic, that is ammonium chloride, corrodes the container even when the cell is not in use. So corrosion reaction will occur in the battery. So this is considered to be disadvantage of this dry cell. Let us understand the example of primary cell, that is lithium cell. Okay, Lithium cells are primary cell in which lithium acts as an anode and cathode may differ. Okay. So we have to understand what is the speciality of lithium to use as an anode. Because of its lightweight, high standard oxidation potential, and it is having good conductivity. Note down all the 3 points. So as the reactivity of lithium in aqueous solution is more, lithium cells use non-aqueous solvent as electrolyte. Okay, we'll talk about this later. Why do we use non-aqueous solvent? So classification of this lithium cell, 2 types. The first one is lithium cell with a solid cathode, and the second one is lithium cell with liquid cathode. So based on the solid and liquid cathodes, we will be having the classification. So let me understand the first one, lithium cell with a solid cathode. The electrolyte in this system is a solid electrolyte. Most widely used cell is lithium MnO2, that is manganese oxide cell. 3 voltage will be used, and MnO2 should be heated to over 3000 Celsius. What is the reason for that 3000 degrees Celsius? What is the reason? To remove water. Why? Because corrosion reaction may occur. So to prevent that, it have to heat it in the high temperature. So remove water before keeping it in the cathode. Thereby the efficiency of cell is increased. So anode used is lithium and cathode uses MnO2 as an active material. Okay, electrolyte used in this reaction is LiBF4. Okay, so salt in a solution of propylene carbonate and dimethoxyethane. Please note it down all this. It is important for your 1 mark question. Now, what is the reaction occur in this process? At anode, lithium donates 1 electron, so it will be converted into Li+. At cathode, this released electron is reacting with MnO2, so it will be converted into MnO2-. So the net reaction is lithium reacts with MnO2 to convert it into LiMnO2. Please remember. Okay. So this reaction is important for your examination point of view. Now let me talk about the application of it. The mainly cylindrical cells are used in fully automatic cameras. Okay. The second one is lithium cells with liquid cathode, or otherwise the first application is the coin type cells are used in watches and calculators. Okay. The next one is lithium cells with a liquid cathode. The first one we have discussed about the solid cathode. Now we are going to talk about the liquid cathode. Lithium sulfur dioxide cell is an example of liquid cathode. Note it down. Lithium sulfur dioxide. There we have used lithium MnO2. Here sulfur dioxide. The co-solvent used are acryl nitrile or propylene carbonate, either one. Mixture of the two with SO2 in 50% by volume. Okay, I hope you have understood what is a chemical is filled. So now the next point is we have to understand what is the reaction occurs. So the cell reaction is Li reacts with SO2 to give LiS2O4. Okay, what is the name of it? Lithium dionyl chloride. So lithium dionyl chloride cell is another example for lithium cathode. It consists of high surface area. Please underline, it consists of high surface area. Now carbon cathode, a non-glass separator. So dionyl chloride acts as electrolyte as cathode. Please underline, dionyl chloride acts as electrolyte and as cathode. Two work here. So what is the cell reaction? The first, at cathode, lithium as usual donates electron. Please remember, lithium donating electron. That electron will be gained by lithium plus dionyl chloride. So conversion will be LiCl, SO2 and sulfur released. So the overall reaction is lithium reacting with dionyl chloride to give LiCl, lithium chloride, SO2 released plus S. So in this cell, no co-solvent is required as SOCl2 dionyl chloride is a liquid with moderate vapor pressure. What is the role of SOCl2? It will be used as a solvent, co-solvent, because it is having moderate vapor pressure. Okay, so now the discharging voltage is V. Done. So what is the application or uses of this? They are used for military and space application, high application. Okay. The second one is medicinal devices like neuro stimulators, drug delivery system, lithium batteries are widely used. Please remember this application, which is very important. My dear children, I am sure you must have understood the primary cell. Now it's the time to talk about secondary cell. So these cells can be recharged. So this is the first keyword. These cells can be recharged by passing an electric current through them and can be used again and again. Okay, so two keywords here. First, it can be recharged and it can be used again and again. Example for the secondary cell is lead storage cell battery, nickel cadmium battery, lithium ion cell battery. Okay, so note it down this example. So secondary cells are widely used in cars, trains, motor, etc., etc. You can mention many examples in this category. These are a reversible cell and they behave as two things. So please note it down. This is a considered to be important point. They behave as galvanic cell. At which point? While discharging. And they act as electrolytic cell while charging. So two character it is having. Now to improve the performance of battery for commercial purposes, what are all things we have to monitor or what are all things we have to do? The first one is the anodes and cathodes with very small separation to conserve space are used. Okay. The second one is current discharge should be high and at low temperature. Okay. Third one, it should have less variation in voltage during discharge. And the second point is considered to be very important. Current discharge should be high, but in case if it is delivering any temperature, it should be very, very low temperature. Okay, it should have high efficiency. What is that? It should have high energy efficiency. So how to calculate it? Percentage of energy efficiency is equal to energy released on discharge into 100 upon energy required for charging. Okay, so using this we can calculate percentage of energy efficiency. Now the next one is it should be reliable. Okay, it is very simple point. It should have tolerance to shock or temperature. The last one is it should have number of charging and discharging cycle before failure of battery. That is, it should have high cycle life. Okay, have you understood? Let me explain the construction part of lead acid battery. If a number of cells are connected in series, the arrangement is called a battery. We have studied about the definition. The lead storage battery is one of the most common batteries that is used in the automobiles. Okay, here 12 volt lead storage battery is generally used, which consists of 6 cells. Let me please underline 6 cells, each providing 2 volts. Okay, each cell consists of lead anode. Each cell consists of lead anode and a grid of lead packed with lead oxide as a cathode. Please underline these two important points. These electrodes are arranged alternatively, separated by a thin wooden piece and suspended in dilute sulfuric acid, that is 38% dilute sulfuric acid, which acts as an electrolyte. Hence, it is called as lead acid battery. Here, anode is lead, cathode is lead oxide, electrolyte used is sulfuric acid, that is 38%, and EMF used by the cell is 2 volts. let us understand clearly what type of reaction carry over in lead acid battery. Okay, this is a examination point of view. Underline, note it down simultaneously. So now to increase the current output of each cell, the cathode and the anode plates are joined together, keeping them in alternative position. What is the meaning of that? The cells are connected parallel to each other. That is how it will be: anode to anode and cathode to cathode. Let me repeat it: anode to anode and cathode to cathode. Now the cell is represented as, you know how to write the cell: lead sulfate in solid form along with sulfuric acid in aqueous slash lead sulfate in solid form along with lead. So in the process of discharging, that is, what is the meaning? When battery produces current, the reactions at the electrodes as follows. Okay, note it down clearly. At anode, lead releases to electron by converting Pb2+. And Pb is reacting with SO4 to give lead sulfate. This is a common reaction. Whereas at anode, lead oxide react with SO4 in acid medium, along with that electron to give lead sulfate plus water molecule is released. Please remember the 2 electron released at anode combines with the lead oxide here. Now therefore the overall reaction will be lead combining with lead oxide in acid medium to convert it into lead sulfate plus water molecule. So now during discharging the battery, sulfuric acid is consumed and as a result the density of sulfuric acid falls, that is reduces. When it reduces below 1.26 gram per centimeter cube, the battery needs recharging. Please understand, that is what we do at home. So in discharging, the cell acts as a voltaic cell where oxidation of lead occurs. During recharging, the cell is operated like a electrolytic cell. So what will happen? Electrical energy is supplied to it from an external source. We are charging it. So external source. So the electrode reactions are the reverse of these that occur during discharge. Have you understood this? When you charge it, what will happen? When you use a cell, what will happen? That is what we have discussed now. Now we have to talk about the overall reaction. So PbSO4 reacts with 2 electron to releases. What is the reaction carry over? It will release lead and SO4 2-. So now the reaction will be PbSO4 combines with water to give lead oxide plus sulfuric acid. Please remember, the reaction whatever we are discussing is a just a reverse of the previous reaction what we have spoke about at anode and cathode. Okay, so during this process, lead is deposited at the cathode, lead oxide is formed at the anode. It is a reverse manner, and sulfuric acid is regenerated in the cell. So now what is the advantage of it? Lead acid batteries are used for supplying current to railways, mines, laboratories, hospitals, in big industries, UPS, that is etc. etc. Other advantage are its rechargeability, portability, and its relatively constant potential, and it is low cost. That is the most important one. So now disadvantages, we are using sulfuric acid, which is very dangerous, and use of lead battery is not advisable. Okay, so now the next example is nickel cadmium cell. Please note it down. The next one is nickel cadmium cell, the third example. Okay, Nicard cell. This is called as Nicard cell. So it is a rechargeable secondary battery. It consists of cadmium as a negative electrode, that is anode, and NiO2 acting as a positive electrode, that is cathode. Potassium hydroxide is used as a electrolyte. The previous one we have used sulfuric acid. Here the basic medium potassium hydroxide we are using as an electrolyte. So the cell reaction during the charging and discharging is very important. So at cathode we are having NiO in OH medium, that is basic medium. At anode we have got cadmium, electrolyte will be KOH. So here EMF used is 1.4 volt. Okay, now what is the reaction occurs at anode? We have got cadmium reacting with that KOH. So OH minus in aqueous medium converted into CdOH twice plus electron is released. Whereas at cathode we have got NiO reacting with the water molecule plus those electrons are absorbed. It will be converted into NiOH twice plus OH minus is released here. So now the overall reaction is cadmium reacting with NiOH plus water molecule to give cadmium hydroxide plus nickel hydroxide. This is how the nickel cadmium battery looks like. You could see the figure and note it down the points. Now let me see few advantages and uses of this nickel cadmium. The nickel cadmium cell has a small size and high rate charge, that is discharging capacity is very high, which makes it very useful. It has also very low internal resistance and wide temperature range, that is above or up to 70 degrees Celsius. It produces a potential about 1.4 volt and has larger life than lead storage cell. So comparatively it is very good. These cells are used in a electronic calculator, electronic flash units, etc. etc. So now the nickel cadmium cells are widely used in medical instrumentation and in emergency lighting and toys. Children, I am sure you must have understood batteries, primary battery and secondary battery with various examples. Now let me enter into the new topic, that is fuel cell, which is very considered to be very important one. Very simple, very short. Definition. A fuel cell is an electrochemical cell which converts chemical energy contained in a readily available fuel oxidant system into electrical energy. Okay, so what is the principle used in this process? The basic principle of the fuel cell is same as that of electrochemical cell. Okay, what is that? The only difference is that the fuel and oxidant are stored outside the cell. Fuel and oxidants are supplied continuously and separately to the electrodes at which they undergo redox reaction. Let me repeat the point again. The only difference is that the fuel and oxidant whatever we are using are stored outside the cell. There we will be using inside the cell, here outside the cell. Fuel and oxidants are supplied continuously and separately to the electrodes at which they undergo redox reaction. Okay, so now fuel cells are capable of supplying current as long as reactants are replenished. Okay, so what is the reaction? Fuel reacting with oxidant to give oxidation products plus electricity. Let me repeat. Fuel reacting with oxidant to give oxidation products with electricity producers. Example is hydrogen oxygen fuel cell, and second one is propane oxygen fuel cell, third one is methyl alcohol oxygen fuel cell. Now in this let me talk about the first one, hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. Very simple circuit, you could see in the figure. So one of the most successful fuel cell is hydrogen oxygen fuel cell. The cell consists of two inert porous electrodes made of graphite. Please remember, made of graphite with finely divided platinum or nickel or palladium and silver alloy and the solution of 2.5% KOH as electrolyte. Okay, have you understood? Now what is the anode? What is the reaction carry over at anode? At anode, hydrogen reacts with that OH minus, produces water molecule along with electron. Whereas at cathode, oxygen reacts with water molecule, and it gains those electron and forming the OH minus. So the net reaction is hydrogen reacting with oxygen to give water, and here the energy produces. So each cell is 1.23 volt. In fuel cell, a large number of these cells connected in series form a fuel cell battery. So, in the production of electricity by this method, the byproducts are heat, carbon dioxide and water, which will not cause, we know that it will not cause any pollution of the environment. So, this is the benefit of it. So now few application part of it. These are used as an auxiliary energy source in space vehicle, submarines and other military vehicles. The product water produced is a valuable source of fresh water for astronaut. Please underline, this is a very important point. So fuel cell is preferred in spacecraft because of the lightness. Okay, so now here I have mentioned few advantages and disadvantages of fuel cell. So let me talk about few points. Under the fuel cell, it will be maintenance cost will be very low. The efficiency of the fuel cell does not depend on the size of the power plant. Whereas when you talk about the disadvantage, initial cost of fuel cell is very high. Lifetime of fuel cell is not known accurately. Till now it is not known accurately, and there is a problem of durability and storage of large amount of hydrogen. This is considered to be a very big problem of the fuel cell. Have you understood fuel cell? Now it is a quick revision. I am not going to talk about this because already the points whatever I have mentioned here, it is explained in the previous slides. So I am requesting my dear children to note it down all the point. Very important. Distinction between primary, secondary and fuel cell. How will you differentiate between primary, secondary and tertiary cell? Note it down the point. The points are explained very clearly in the previous slides. The next topic is corrosion. So corrosion definition. What is corrosion? It is defined as a natural process that causes the transformation of pure metal to undesirable substances when they react with substances like water or air. Okay, so this reaction very simple, and class 10 you have studied about it. The reaction causes damages and disintegration of the metal, starting from the portion of the metal exposed to the environment and spreading to the entire bulk of the material. Okay, now the question is what type of reaction it is? It is an oxidation process. Now metals placed higher in the reactivity series such as iron, zinc etc. get corrode very easily, and metals placed lower in the reactivity series like gold, platinum and palladium do not corrode. So the explanation lies in the fact that corrosion involves oxidation of the metal. As we go down the reactivity series, tendency to get oxidized very low. Okay, so oxidation potential is very low. Please remember this. So already we spoke about this. Now let me give you extra information, that is factors affecting corrosion. The first one is exposure of the metals to air containing gases like carbon dioxide, SO2, SO3. Exposure of metals to moisture, especially salt water, which increases the rate of corrosion. So presence of impurities like salt. Temperature, and increase in temperature increases corrosion. Nature of the first layer of oxide formed, that is some oxides like Al2O3 forms an insoluble protecting layer which can prevent further corrosion. So others like rust easily crumble and expose the rest of the metal. Okay, presence of acid in the atmosphere. Acid can easily react with the metal and the process of corrosion. Now here 3 types of cell we are going to talk about, or corrosion we are going to talk about. Acid theory, the second one is dry or chemical corrosion, and galvanic or electrochemical. Now what are all reaction can carry over here? Let me explain now. Now let me explain corrosion of iron. Rusting of iron, which is the most commonly seen example, happens when iron comes in contact with air or water. The reaction could be seen as a typical electrochemical cell reaction. Consider, you could see the diagram given on the slide. Okay, see the reaction occur in this. Here metal ion loses electron and gets converted into Fe2+. Okay, so the electron lost will be moved to the other side where they combine with H+ ion. H+ ions are released either by water or H2CO3 present in the atmosphere. Okay, now this could be considered as a cathode portion. Please remember. So what is the reaction? H2O to gives and return back H+ and OH-. Whereas when you talk about H2CO3, it releases H+ and conversion of CO3 2-. So the hydrogen thus formed by the reaction of H+ and electrons react with oxygen to form water. Okay, so now what you have to remember? Rusting of iron and prevention. So what is the anode reaction? Fe converted into Fe2+ plus 4 electron. Please remember, electropotential cell will be minus 0.44 volt. Whereas at cathode, that oxygen combines with hydrogen and electron released. On the right hand side corner in the cathodic region, you could see this reaction. Combining those electron and converted into water molecule. Here electrochemical potential will be 1.23 volt. So what is the overall reaction? Fe plus O2 plus H plus produced from water to gives Fe2 plus water molecule. So E0 cell will be 1.67 volt. So the conclusion is the Fe2 plus ions formed at the anode react with oxygen in the atmosphere, thereby getting oxidized to Fe3 plus, thereby forming Fe2O3, which comes out in the hydrated form as Fe2O3 dot H2O. Okay, so now the other examples include zinc corrosion, that is corrosion of zinc when it reacts with oxygen and HCl to form white colored zinc chloride. The other one is corrosion of tin to form black colored complex. Okay, so to prevent the corrosion, we have to understand electroplating method, cathodic protection, galvanization, painting and greasing. The last one is using corrosion inhibitor. Thank you very much, children.